A cargo ship docks at a busy port filled with goods stamped "Made in China." Across the ocean, another port stands half empty as tariffs rise and political speeches flare. The battleground isn't fought with tanks or missiles, but with tariffs, sanctions, and supply chains. Welcome to the new era of economic warfare, where trade has become both a weapon and a shield. Welcome back to the Learning Studio. You're watching our political science series, and in today's episode, we'll unpack one of the defining features of global competition: trade wars, sanctions, and economic nationalism. We'll explore how nations use trade policies to assert power, how sanctions shape world politics, and why economic nationalism is on the rise once again. And in our next episode, we'll discuss the future of global order, connecting all these forces to understand where the world might be headed next. The rise of economic power politics. In the 21st century, the most powerful weapon isn't a missile, it's the market. Nations are realizing that control over trade, technology, and finance can shape global outcomes more effectively than military might. From the US-China trade war to Western sanctions on Russia and Iran, the global economy has become the new front line of political conflict. Trade wars. When markets become battlefields. A trade war occurs when countries impose tariffs or restrictions on each other's goods to protect domestic industries or punish rivals. The US-China trade war, 2018 to 2020, showed how economic rivalry can redefine geopolitics, with both countries raising tariffs on hundreds of billions of dollars worth of goods. It wasn't just about steel or semiconductors, it was about who controls the future of technology and manufacturing. Trade wars often hurt both sides, raising prices for consumers and disrupting global supply chains. But politically, they send a clear message: we will not depend on you. Sanctions, the silent weapon of modern diplomacy. Sanctions are economic penalties used to pressure governments, freezing assets, banning trade, or cutting off financial access. They are designed to change behavior without firing a shot. The US and European sanctions on Russia, Iran, and North Korea show how financial systems can be used to isolate entire nations. However, sanctions also raise ethical questions. They can weaken economies, but they often hurt ordinary citizens most. Economic nationalism, the return of the nation-state. For decades, globalization promised open markets and shared prosperity, but in recent years, we've seen a sharp turn toward economic nationalism, countries prioritizing local jobs, industries, and resources. From Make in India to America First, leaders across the world are reasserting control over economic sovereignty. COVID-19 and global supply disruptions only accelerated this trend, reminding nations that dependence can be dangerous. Technology and supply chain wars. The 21st century trade war is no longer about oil and steel, it's about chips and code. Control over semiconductors, rare earth minerals, and digital infrastructure like 5G networks has become a geopolitical race. Whoever leads in technology leads the world. Winners and losers. Economic nationalism empowers domestic industries but can isolate economies. Trade wars defend sovereignty but can trigger inflation and slow growth. Sanctions punish aggressors but can deepen global divisions. The key question remains: can global cooperation survive in a world obsessed with economic rivalry? Trade wars and sanctions remind us that economics is never neutral. It's political strategy disguised as policy. The New World Order is being written not just in treaties and wars, but in tariffs, investments, and supply chains. In this era, whoever controls the economy controls the narrative of power. And that's today's lecture on trade wars, sanctions, and economic nationalism, the invisible conflicts shaping the 21st century. In our next episode, we'll conclude this phase with the future of global order, exploring how shifting powers, technology, and global crises are redefining what power means in our world. This is the Learning Studio, where learning never stops.